So good evening. We're going to call the regular meeting for Monday, August 15th to order. And I'm going to welcome everyone who's with us tonight. And we're going to begin with the acknowledgement of treaties of peace and friendship. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq peoples. This territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship, which Wolastoqiyik, Mi'kmaq, and Passamaquoddy peoples first signed with the British Crown in 1726. The treaties did not deal with surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognized the Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqiyik title and established the rules for what was to be an ongoing relationship between nations. Thank you. Walalun. Next is the oath of office, reaffirmation. We do hereby accept the office of council and will diligently, faithfully, and impartially discharge to the best of our ability the duties of the office as may be imposed upon us by law. Thank you. Now we have the moment of reflection. And this month we want to acknowledge and have a moment of silence for Verna Gray, formerly of Jacket River, Gerald Jason Carrier, formerly of Lauren, and Mary Anderson of Beldoon. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Next is the adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
I would like to remove one off of my name, please. 6.2.1, I'd like to remove it and put it back on September 6th, Committee of the Whole meeting. It needs to be discussed further. Okay?
That was
2.1.
Okay. You want to take that motion off for now?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So with the amendment, can I get a mover?
M 2022-08-15-126, that the agenda be adopted with the as amended with changes.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion is passed. Next is statement of conflicts of interest. If any council members have any statements of conflicts of interest they want to acknowledge, please do so. The clerk. Next is the adoption of minutes, and we have two in addition to what's there. We also have the special council meeting of July 4th and the special council meeting of July 11th. So with those included, could we get a motion to adopt the minutes?
M 2022-08-15-127, that the minutes of the Committee of Whole meeting July 4th and the regular meeting of July 28th and the special meeting of July 4th and the special council meeting of July 11th be adopted as presented.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Next, there was a slot there open for Mr. Willett. He had reached out to CAO Kingston and myself late last week. He wasn't certain he could make it, so I guess apparently something's come up, but he has something he wants to present to council and ultimately to the public. So we're going to reach out to him this week and see if we can get, it sounded like it was positive news in terms of the project. But we'll reach out to Mr. Willett on that. So we'll move down then to statements by members of council. Deputy Mayor Burke.
Just an update from the Port of Beldoon on my recent meeting with them. The Port of Baldoon now has a new harbor master. His name is Todd Dempsey. He's replacing Winfred. So, you know, I did meet him, and on behalf of council, I extended our congratulations, and that council is certainly open to discussion at any issues that they would have. So, you know, he seems eager to go, and that's a good thing. Also, the port used to pilot ships into the Port of Baldoon, but Transport Canada has changed that it is now mandatory that a pilot be on the ship to guide them into the port. So the Port of Baldoon now has a full-time pilot and a part-time pilot to be able to fulfill those two positions to bring ships into our port because it's now mandatory by Transport Canada. Also, the Port of Baldoon will have a family-type activity on September the 10th. That's a Saturday. They're trying to promote the port, and now that COVID is kind of, you know, I guess we're still in that phase, but with that said, they come down to that the port wants to make themselves aware at the public. They want the public to be informed of where the port is going, and that they are moving towards a green energy hub. So they're going to have a family day at the port, so we'll probably hear some advertising on that in the very near future. Also, I was informed that Terminal 1, which is the terminal that Glencore formerly used, it will be dismantled sometime in the very near future, so there'll be some activity there. I was also informed that Terminal 3, you know, is under new construction, so we'll see some activity for that and some work going on there. So I just wanted to bring these points to not only the council but the public so that they were aware. So, you know, that's the end of that report.
Anything by council members, questions or anything else? No? Okay. Deputy Mayor Burke?
Okay. We had some discussion on a website for the Village of Baldoon. We're having some issues with the one we presently have, so I'd said I would bring a motion forward. So motion M 2022-08-15-128, the council approved to send out a request for a proposal to have a professional website developer design a new website for the Village of Baldoon.
Can I get a seconder
I'll second it.
on the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion approved. Okay, so Councillor Guitar McDonnell has taken 6.2.1 off till September. And 6.2.2.
I would like to make a motion, but I'd like to explain it first. In the past, the events committee, when they put on events, the money raised would come back to the village and go into a separate account. Now that everything has been amalgamated into the events committee, all events in the village, Baldoon Days, seniors dinners or whatever, any money that's being raised now still comes to the village. So I would like to make a motion that that money be returned into the budget for the events committee so that they could replenish some of that budget to continue with events till the end of the year.
Okay, can I get a seconder? Before we move on. Okay, we'll just read it and then we'll get a seconder and then anybody wants to comment can.
Okay, M 2022-08-15-130, that council approve that any and all monies raised by the events committee be put back into their budget to help fund further events.
Can I get a seconder
I'll second it.
on the question?
Yeah, so we don't have enough money that, in the budget that what we put in originally for all the activities? Are we running out of money? Is that the reason why we need to put that money back in, or
Well-
is this the proper way to do it? If the clerk treasurer, would she be able?
The way the accounting system works in the finances, yes, all money raised has to come back in the municipal budgets, in the municipal finances. However, if council want to allocate those surpluses within the current year, you can't carry them over, then that's, like I said, that can, it always kind of was in there anyhow, and it kind of offset some of the other costs initially, and then we never really ever went over budget before, like for all the events, but council can do that, long as they realize it's only in the current year, and then they're okay.
Any other questions?
Yes, I do have a question, Your Worship, if I may. On the Beldoon Days activities, a form was issued that showed that was, for each activity. For example, the Legion had 3 activities: the opening, the hoedown, and I went brain dead. The opening, the hoedown, and the breakfast. I personally, because I am the treasurer of the Legion, submitted the report. With that said, my report, in my opinion, is pretty clear that on the 3 events that the Legion did, we made a profit of $1,552.66. Here's my question. How many others doing activities submitted a report?
To my knowledge, I think most of it is covered. Yeah,
Most-
to my knowledge, everyone who had those envelopes with the forms returned them.
Okay, so we know whether an activity is making or losing money or is costing money. With that said, it comes down to that, I mean, I know some of the events do not have, for lack of a better word, a sponsor. So the Beldoon Days Committee is forced to basically be accountable for it. For me, I'm going to just repeat what I had said, I believe, at the last meeting, which was, I believe the chair or the co-chairs or whatever it may be of the Beldoon Days Committee should be issuing a full report to council, so that I have no objection with how the money comes or goes, but I do believe that the committee needs to have a budget that they can work with, that, they don't have to constantly be coming back to council. The budget should be enough to fulfill, because the committee is really an extension of council. So for me, I'd like to see a full report on, and I know I've seen them in the past, and I'm sure we will see one on this Beldoon Days. But my point is that, I believe that with the report, council should know when we do our budget in September, October, whenever it may be, that's when the decision should be made for how much money is allocated to the committee. The fact that money comes and goes both ways, and I understand your point. If you're out of money, you're looking for solutions, and it's a viable solution. But the other side of the coin is that Beldoon Days should be something that the committee has a working budget to be able to produce the type of events and the type of results that Beldoon can be proud of, to be able to, for our neighbors and people visiting, and be able to say, Beldoon is a very unique community, and that, this is how we showcase it. With that said, that's kind of where I'm at, so.
So you don't, I want to read what you just said. So you don't want to put the money back into this?
No, I have no problem this year. If that's what we want to do, I don't have a problem with that. But I guess my point is that the committee shouldn't have to be coming back to council, every year, once or twice. It should be, this is the budget, this is how it works, and, and if you need more money, I'm not opposed to increasing the budget next year, for example. If the presentation from the committee is made and you require more money because of the fundings, that's not the issue. The issue is about when we get halfway through, like we are right now, and there's still, I don't know, 2 or 3 events that may need to be done, the committee shouldn't have to be coming to council for money. It should have already been allocated in the budget, and that should be that. And that's where I'm at.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Yeah?
It's part of the mandate of the events committee to do fundraisers. So I don't know, and those funds would typically, it's in the bylaw, that's part of their mandate is to do fundraising for the events. There's a budget of $48,000 for the events, 40 something? So I'm not sure, I don't know where the extra funds are needed. Are you planning more events, new events? There's no financial breakdown for what the committee does for council. So what funds are you looking to put back into events?
Well, I'm just saying if we put a function on and money is being raised, whether it be through the canteen or the door or whatever, that money goes back into the kitty, because at some point we've paid a band, we paid something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to recur some of that money and put it back into the budget for further events. But at the end of the year, that money will come back to the village if it's not spent.
Okay.
Okay. And I also think too, just to step down for a second, I think this year, I mean, I've already talked to CEO Kingston about it. We may have to, in terms of looking at the budget, we may need to consider a zero-based or a line-by-line this year, I think. That's going to speak to some of the recommendations too that were made in March. So, and then it's going to be it's going to give council a fairer breakdown and a more clearer breakdown of, expenses, et cetera, for all the committees and some of the other things. So I think that was something that came up in the past, and I think that's something that we're going to have to seriously look at this time around. And that's all part of the conversation in terms of money raised and money used, et cetera. So, but to the motion, if no one else has any thing that they would like to add, we can get to the vote. Just the question is, the budget that was set out, was it 48, was it 40? I know it was around that.
I believe it was, I thought it was around 40.
Yeah.
It's quite possible because they amalgamated the other funds, right?
Yeah.
From the seniors' dinners, from whatever, and they threw it all into that pot.
Yeah.
So depending on what the budget was for Beldoon Days, we have to ensure that there is still money there for those events till the end of the year.
I guess the only thing I was asking is, in retrospect, do you think that number's a good number, or do you think it's maybe lowball a little bit?
Well, considering this is our first year back into it after the pandemic, it's hard to say. I'm going to be honest.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fair. And, the last year we could have done this was 2019, so that's a fair point. Okay, so we have a motion on the table. It's, and we have a seconder, so let's get to the vote. So this is that council approved that any and all money raised by the events committee be put back in their budget to help fund future events. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. CEO Kingston.
Thank you, Your Worship. So the discussion, I think we took Rorty Point Road off the agenda. There we go. There was a suggestion from Councillor we look at chip seal. Chip seal would be within the budget to do Rorty Road. However, the $166,000 for asphalt would not be. So council wants to discuss it again, that's fine. So I guess I'm down to 7.11, and it's the motion M2022-08-15-133 that the Social Environmental CAO grant report of $250 for the Lorne Festival or Lorne Days Festival be accepted as presented, and the following recommendation approved.
Well, did I miss something, or are we not doing the gazebo?
Oh, I missed the gazebo at the top of the road here? Sorry,
Rorty was taken off. Rorty was taken off,
here we go.
but that's okay.
Is that 613?
No, it's 711.
711. I don't have it as 711, that's why, probably. All right,
Did we take it off? Okay.
sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay.
711, okay. I would ask approval of the motion M202208-15-131, that council agree to have two gazebos moved, one to the Jacket River Ball Field and one to the Rorty Point Beach.
Can I get a seconder?
I have a question to that, your worship. I do not believe the CAO can read a motion. You know, it'd have to come
True,
from
yeah,
council.
okay.
So
Go ahead.
I'll read the motion, M 2022-08-15-131. The council agreed to have two gazebos moved, one to the Jacket River Ball Field and one to the Rorty Point Beach.
Okay, we don't have a seconder, so we move on. 7.1.2.
7.1.2, I'm looking for a motion that the request from the Lorne Days Festival be accepted as presented, and that recommendation be approved.
Can we get someone to read the motion, please?
I'll read it. M 2022-08-15-132, that the Social Environmental CAO grant report of $250 for the Lorne Days Festival be accepted as presented, and the following recommendation to approve.
Can we get a seconder
I'll second it.
on the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion is passed. 7.1.3.
You'll have to, my agenda is backwards. for some reason. Yeah. So 7.1.3, I'm looking for a recommendation for a quotation for a server for the office from MicroAge. The quotation's from MicroAge at a cost of $18,543 plus tax to supply and install the server in the main office.
Okay, can we get somebody to read that motion again, please?
Motion M 2022-08-15-133. The council approved the recommendation from CAO Kingston. The quotation received from MicroAge in the amount of $18,543 plus tax to supply and install a server for the main office.
Can I get a seconder for that motion?
I'll second it.
On the question? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion approved. 7.1.4.
I'm looking for a recommendation to approve the lowest bid from RDM Electric for the repair, the install and repair of new flashing lights at the corner of Main Street and Jagged River Drive and Main Street and Newell Road.
Okay, can we get a mover for that motion, please?
Motion M 2022-08-15-134. The council approved the lowest quote from RDM Electric for the amount of $11,467.80, tax included, to repair the flashing lights at the corner of Main Street and Noel Road and Main Street and Jacket River Drive.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder
I'll second it.
on the question? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Thank you, CAO Kingston. Assistant Clerk Treasurer Carrot.
There's no financial report this month. We had days on vacation, and Brenda just came back to the office today, so, and I guess the only thing is to pay payables.
Can we get a mover for -135 for the accounts payable to be paid?
M 2022-08-15-135, that the accounts payable be paid.
Need a seconder
I'll second it.
on the question? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Next, we move down to bylaws and policies. So we have a mandated WorkSafe NB code of practice for managing workplace harassment policy. Can we get a mover for that mandated policy, please? It has to be right. So if you're going to move it, be prepared to read it.
Just once, though.
What's the honor? Deputy Mayor Burke, you want the honor?
Motion M 2022-08-15-136. Be resolved that council adopt the code of practice for managing workplace harassment as mandated by WorkSafe New Brunswick. Just opened it. Code of practice for managing workplace harassment. In compliance with the NB Occupational Health and Safety Act, Regulation 91-191, Sections 374.4 to 374.8, Beldoon is establishing the following written code of practice for managing workplace harassment. Beldoon is committing to providing a safe work environment where all workers are treated with respect and dignity. The Code of Practice for Managing Workplace Harassment was established to ensure that provides a work environment that supports the dignity, self-esteem, personal and professional goals, well-being, and productivity of every employee. Workplace harassment will not be tolerated from any person in the workplace, including customers, clients, other employers, employees, supervisors, co-workers, members of the elected council, and members of the public. Each employee is also responsible to ensure their own behavior contributes to the harassment-free work environment. Workplace harassment. Definition of workplace harassment in the place of employment means by objectionable or offensive behavior that is known or ought reasonably to be known to be unwelcome, including bullying or any other conduct, comment, or display made on either a one-time or repeated basis that threatens the health or safety of an employee. It is objectionable conduct or commitment that demeans, belittles, or causes personal humiliation or embarrassment to an employee. It includes harassment with the meaning of the Canadian Human Rights Act, that is, harassment based on race, national or ethnical origin, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, marital status, family status, disabilities, or pardonable conviction. social media harassment, cyberbullying. In today's society of social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc., Beldoon must also address as part of the Code of Practice for Workplace Harassment. Cyberbullying, the use of technology to intimidate, spread rumors, slander, harass, threaten, or use of digital media to abuse someone mentally, emotionally, or verbally. Cyberbullying has the potential to cause harm to others because it can happen anytime, be carried around with a person anywhere, and spread quickly in the ways that can never be undone. If an employee is being bullied, whether it be being done on social media or through emails and/or texts, it should be reported to the Chief Administrative Officer, CAO, or the supervisor immediately. They should not respond back or prove the bullying should be kept. Cyberbullying must be dealt with in the same manner as any other workplace harassment situation. Abuse of authority. Abuse of authority means taking advantage of a position of authority to exploit, compromise, or distreat others. It includes behavior such as yelling, belittling an employee's work, reprimanding an employee in front of other staff members, withholding or delaying leave approval, favoritism, unjustifiably withholding information that an employee needs to perform work, demanding overtime without reason or justification, and demanding subordinates take on personal errands. It does not include reasonable conduct of an employer in respect to the manager and direction of employees at a place of employment, nor does it restrict the authority of those with managerial at the place of employment. Sorry, missed that line. Nor does it restrict the authority of those with managerial responsibilities in such areas as consulting, performance review, staff relations, and discriminatory actions. Requirements. Employees must report any incidents of workplace harassment to the CAO or appointed alternative. In case of the harassment is against the CAO, the complaint may be made verbally or in writing by use of a harassment complaint form. Please see Appendix A. Employees must cooperate with harassment complaints are being resolved, and everyone must respect the confidentiality of written complaints. The CAO is responsible for implementing the Code of Practice for managing workplace harassment. Investigation. The CAO or alternative will investigate and deal with all complaints of workplace harassment in a fair, respectable, and timely manner. The investigator will make sure that the investigation is kept confidential, unless it is necessary to conduct the investigation or if it is required by law. The investigator will also remind the workers who reported the workplace harassment, the person that the workplace harassment was made against, and any witnesses, or the confidentiality requirements under the workplace harassment program. The CAO or alternative must provide the investigation results in writing to the affected employees only upon full completion of the investigation. Outside investigation. If the complainant does not feel that the harassment complaint was handled in a timely, effective, or professional manner, or if they feel that it was not properly investigated, they can contact WorkSafe NB at 1-800-222-9775 for more advice and/or assistance. Measures to eliminate further harassment. The CAO or alternate will implement measures identified in the investigation to eliminate any further harassment. Notices will be given to all employees if there are new or advised procedures to follow. If the harassment continues, the CAO will have to take further action to ensure it stops immediately. Suspension or termination may occur. Beldoon is responsible to implement the code practice for managing workplace harassment and ensure it is being followed adequately to provide a respectable and safe workplace. Post the code of practice of managing workplace harassment in various places where it will be a reminder to employees. Provide a mechanism for employees to report harassment. Investigate all harassment complaints in a timely, effective, and professional manner. Keep records of the complaints or incidents, including any documents or statements gathered during an investigation. While there are no regulations, it is recommended to keep the records for at least 2 years. Put in place a training program for workers and supervisors in the Code of Practice for Managing Workplace Harassment and review annually. Keep training records and make them available for WorkSafe New Brunswick health and safety officers. Review and update the Code of Practice for Managing Workplace Harassment at least once a year in conjunction with employees. The employees are responsible to adhere to the Code of Practice for Managing Workplace Harassment, report any harassment right away, do not let it get out of hand, cooperate in any and all investigations, work with the village to review, update, and/or assist in making changes to the Code of Practice of Managing Workplace Harassment. Do I read the rest of this? I guess there's a little bit on the appendix of reporting harassment, so I'll cover that. I guess there's only a couple of lines. So the form also includes details of the complaint. Please describe in as much detail as possible the instance, names of parties involved, names of witnesses, dates, times, and locations, and the instances, and any other details. Add additional pages if needed. The documents include any supporting documents, emails, note, paragraphs, physical evidence. If you are unable to attach documents that are relevant, please list them below.
All right. Need a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. 9.1, resolution in support of Rail Safety Week. Whereas Rail Safety Week is to be held across Canada from September 19th to 25th, 2022. Whereas it is in the public's interest to raise concerns, awareness of the dangers of ignoring safety warnings at level crossings and trespassing on rail property to reduce avoidable deaths, injuries, and damage caused by incidents involving trains and citizens. Whereas Operation Lifesaver is a public and private partnership whose aims to work with the public, rail industry, governments, police services, media, and others to raise rail safety awareness. Whereas CN has requested the Village of Belledune adopt this resolution in support of its ongoing efforts to raise awareness, save lives, and prevent injuries in communities, including our municipality. It is hereby resolved to support National Rail Safety Week to be held September 19th to 25th. Can I get a mover for that particular motion?
M 2022-08-15-137, that council pass the following resolution in support of Rail Safety Week.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Resolution is passed. Next is general correspondence for August. Are you taking that, Councillor Gary, or Clerk Treasurer Cormier?
We have correspondence in the information. We had the Restigouche SPCA report for July, the Atlantic Railway Track Inspection Report for July, Belledune Library Report July, Chaleur Regional Service Commission Building Permit Reports for July, Chaleur Regional Service Commission, a letter regarding variance, and Department of Transportation Municipal Designated Highway Program. In the for workshops, there's Quad NB, Jacques Ouellette, invitation to the mayor and council and staff to visit the trail. In the thank yous, we had the CWL, Betty Daly, for donation to Car Party for Belledune, and St. John Evangelist Peggy Daigle, donation to Breakfast for Belledune Days. Magazines was Municipal World and Infrastructure. There was no, it included both, both the information.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're at the closed session. We don't have any in particular, but I asked council to remain for a few minutes after we take a few questions.
Just prior to closure, if I may, Your Worship, I did have a copy of the 2021 budget. The budget for the committee is $40,000.
Okay. And before we adjourn, I want to take a moment to wish all of our Acadian friends Bonne Fête on their national holiday today. And with that, we'll have a motion to adjourn.
M 2022-08-15-138, that the meeting adjourn at 7:41.
Need a seconder?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.